I've started to gain some followers on Instagram, and I thought it might be fun to take a few moments and talk about and show my workflow for Instagramming. And you might say, well, wait a second, Instagram is this mobile app. People whip out their cell phone, take a picture, and share it to Instagram. That's true of most people. I really love the ability to use my DSLR though, and then using an iFi card, beam it over to my phone or tablet, and beam is a very technical word for their direct mode the iFi offers. And there's other ways you can get your camera pictures to your cell phone, but I really like the ease of that. And then do a little bit of editing in an app called Snapseed from Google, and then share to Instagram. And there's something about the immediacy of being able to use my really nice camera that I've spent a lot of money for, either my 5D Mark III, which is filming this, or the Canon T5i, and then being able to share. But there's a couple of points that I want to make before we get into that. One is, when you spend time in a beautiful location, or you come out to any place that's interesting to photograph, make sure you're also not just photographing it, but enjoying it or appreciating it. It's very easy when you have a camera in your hand to spend most of the time with it up to your eye. And you really want to be careful to enjoy the spot and look around you as well. And that goes for the same as if you bring along a device. And so here I am beaming pictures over to my device. It's very easy to suddenly have your head down and be editing pictures while you're still in the place. It's very, very rarely that I share immediately after taking the picture. Most of the time I let the images transfer, and then when I'm back in the car or maybe eating lunch or have a few moments of downtime that's not long after I took the picture, that's when I spend a few moments editing and popping it up on Instagram, or family pictures, sharing to family and friends through Facebook or just email. It's really nice to have these iFi cards and be connected. Or if you have a D5200, have the little Wi-Fi dongle, or many of the cameras these days now are coming with Wi-Fi, including the 70D, which will be out soon. Now, I share about 1 to 2 images a day, probably 2 may be generous, usually about 1 image on Instagram per day, and that's just, what I do. I choose not to share that many more. I probably don't have that many more pictures that I think are interesting. One of the ways to really convince people, though, that you're an excellent photographer, or at least a good photographer, is to be very selective about what you share. Now, I've seen on Facebook the vacation pictures where there are 300 pictures. And I start to look through them, and there are some interesting ones, but I just don't have time or am not that interested to click through 300. So from a vacation or from a walk in the woods, you really want to select your best images and share those. It might sound a little harsh, but really, you keep all of the rest of them socked away for you, put them on some place that's for you. Do you remember, you might want those 5 images of palm trees all in a row, but your friends and your family very rarely want to see 5 images that look almost identical. So really want to cull that down. And that really goes for people who are trying to be photographers as a career. You're showing people your portfolio either to hire you or to hire you as be their client, or they be your client, and you really want to pick your best and just have a page or 2 of your best photos, kind of like putting your best foot forward. So, but this is a little bit of a mishmash. So as I said, I'm right now shooting with an iFi card in here. This is the Mobi. This is their newest one that makes direct mode really, really easy. Any picture I take after I put in the little code on my cell phone will automatically beam over to my cell phone. That's good and bad with these new cards. I really wish they would enable selective share. That's one of the features that I love. I'm taking a lot of pictures when I'm out and about, and as I said, I'm really only sharing 1 or 2, so I really only want 1 or 2 to go over to my phone or device. More than that, and you're killing battery life on both your camera and your phone. But right now, it's how it works. They hopefully will enable some type of selective mode soon in the future. If you have the other if you have the other iFi cards that do support direct mode, I have set those up, all of mine, for selective sharing, and all I have to do then is press the rate button, and only those that get rated are moved over, and it's quite nice that way. So I'm just going to wander around and take a few pictures here, and then I'm going to bring you back inside so that I can show you my workflow on the tablet to edit in Snapseed and over to Instagram. Alright, so I'm back inside, and you're looking at the screen of my Nexus 7 where I'm going to show the kind of my brief workflow. First thing is the little icon is gone now, but up on the top up here where the little notifications are, there was an iFi symbol there for a little while to let me know that the files had transferred over. It really does work very nicely. I'm very happy with it. I don't even actually have to open the iFi app right there. I can just simply go into the gallery because the iFi pictures are dumped into the gallery just like everything else is on Android device. And you can see, so here are all the pictures I've taken with my DSLRs, either the T5i or my 5D Mark III, and including some video. I let some video transfer over as well. And some of these pictures are worth sharing and some of them aren't. You can see, as I was saying, about being selective in what you're sharing. I got 5 photos here of this fly. None of them are quite sharp enough to share, but if one was, that would be the one I would share, and I wouldn't share more than that. Same with this flower and some other interesting things here. So truthfully, last evening when I stepped away from the camera and said, you know, finished recording, said I was going to go off and take a picture, I just couldn't find anything that worked for me. There was this picture I took. I think it's interesting. I like the flare of the sun and the green and the kind of plane of the trees in the background, but it's just not quite good enough. So this morning I walked around and then I spied this little statue in this bed of Pachysandra here. And I shot this with a Instagram in mind because I left a little bit of breathing room around my focus point so that I can do that kind of square crop and not be missing anything that is important. Now in the gallery, I have a couple options. I could share this over to Snapseed by pressing the little share button, and that long menu comes up. Actually, it's short, but then it can get long, and Snapseed is on there. I could also do some editing right here with this little button down the bottom left corner that looks like a Venn diagram. I could do some editing, but I want to open Snapseed and show you how I get this. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. Now this is my photo home screen on the Nexus. I'm going to open up Snapseed, and you can see here's this picture. I hadn't played with it yet, but it's sitting there. I'm going to go up here to the top right corner, click Open Photo, choose Photo, and click this, and click that, and now I've opened up the thing. Now, these were full-size JPEGs coming over from the T5i, so they are bigger than Snapseed can handle, and Snapseed resizes them down a little bit. For Instagram, again, that's completely fine. And of course, I do have the full-size JPEG on the camera still, and if later I wanted this to be an actual picture that I shared somewhere, that would be fine. So now that this picture is open, I have these options across the bottom: an autocorrect, selective adjustments, tune image, straighten, crop, details, which is your sharpen, and then some filters. I'm going to call these filters black and white, vintage, drama, grunge, center focus, tilt shift, retrolux, and frames. Now, granted, or you should say, I have not used all of these tools. I do like drama sometimes. Let's just see what drama looks like if I just hit drama. There you go. It gives it a little bit more of a washed out look, really increases the contrast, and you can see the filter strength down at the bottom. Now, one of the things that you can't see because you're seeing just the screen, to change any of these settings, you simply drag left or right across the screen, and I'm dragging across my screen with my finger left, and you can see that that filter strength has dropped a bunch there. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm just going to come over here to Tune Image. That's where I usually start. Now, let me hit this little question mark button because I think it'll put it on there on the screen for you. Yes, this is great. So you swipe up and down to select the enhancement. You swipe left and right to adjust the selected enhancement, or we should say the amount of enhancement. So I'm going to tap to dismiss that. And now if I hold down and I start to drag up or down, you can see this little menu appears: brightness, ambience, contrast, saturation, and white balance. Let's start with brightness. Actually, I'm quite happy with the brightness of this image. Maybe I'll take it down just a notch. So I'll select that, and then I'll drag my finger to the left just a little bit in Snapseed here and bring the brightness down just a little bit, a tiny amount. And let's go to ambience now. Ambience is kind of your background noise or brightness, and so I'm going to bring that down a little bit, just a little. And contrast, I'm going to increase the contrast. Many pictures look a little bit better with increased contrast. It just adds a little bit of punch to it. So I'm coming to the right just a little bit. Saturation, I'm happy with the level of color in this image. I'll try just a little bit more. One of the things I see folks do, and it bothers me, this is certainly personal preference, but I think oversaturated images don't look as good as many people think they do. You really want to be careful with the amount of saturation you add, because very quickly a good photographer can look at that picture and just say, nah, not realistic. So you really need to be careful with your saturations. Many pictures might benefit from just a little bit of an increase, because our eyes often can capture better than the camera can. White balance, I'm happy with the white balance here. But again, notice this meter at the bottom is really pretty slick here. You can see, and you can always hold down the compare button and see the before and after. So a pretty subtle change there. There's the before and there's the after, and I was looking for that. So I'm going to hit the apply button on the bottom right corner. It's going to process that and bring me back. Now, this is going to Instagram. I go ahead and crop it here because I feel like I have a little bit more control. I'm going to click on this ratio button, choose the 1:1. And now I'm wishing that I had not let the shoulder intersect with the statue quite as much. Maybe I shot from a little bit more of a left angle. And I'm going to increase this just a little bit. And I think that's happy. I'm going to click OK there. And there we go. Now that I look at it cropped and zoomed in a little bit more, I actually feel like the statue is missing a little bit of the detail that I want it to have. So then I can come over here to the Selective Adjustment tool. This is where we can add a control point and make adjustments to just an area. This is some really fine control now. So I'm going to click right here on the statue. Oops, I'm going to click the Add button. Click right on the statue. And brightness is our option, so I can now start to go to the right and drop our brightness a little bit and increase our contrast. Let me see if I like increased or decreased. Yes, definitely increase. Brings out the shadows a little bit better. There we go. I'm happier with the way that looks now. I could also increase or decrease the saturation, but for a gray concrete statue, don't really think it works very well. Now if I hide that little control point by hitting hide, it doesn't quite want to hide, does it? I like how that looks, so I'm going to hit apply. And that all looks good. And so now I save it, and then I come up here and I share it over to Instagram. So, and then from there it's pretty straightforward. Actually, I might not actually have Instagram on this. I've only done Snapseed edits on here, and as I said, I usually use my phone where Instagram is. So, that was a quick look at my workflow for shooting with a DSLR, using an iFi card to beam it over, and then editing it in Snapseed. As I said, there's another app that I know a lot of people love, Pixlr, P-I-X-L-R, I believe. And of course there's Photoshop. Both of them are very good, but I'm really happy with the control scheme and the setup of Snapseed. If you have any questions about iFi cards, Snapseed editing, Android apps, back here on the home screen, I really like if I have several fun pictures, but not a single one of them is strong. PhotoGrid is a really nice way to make collages within a program, or sorry, within an app, so I can very quickly go in here and say, yes, yes, yes. Those are really not 3 pictures I would put together. Then I click next, and it puts them into a little collage for me, and you can, of course, make changes within and move the items around. You can increase their size by pinching and zooming. Again, just another app that I think really looks really well. And then you can share that to Instagram. So it's kind of fun because most of the time you see pictures on Instagram, it's just a single picture in a square, but using an app like this gives you more control. Geotag photos, I don't use that as often now that I have the little GPS dongle for my camera. But it is one of the best geotagging apps that you can run. It's available for Android and iOS. And down here in the bottom left is DSLR controller, which I absolutely love, and that allows me to control my Canon DSLR via one of those USB host cables. I have videos that talk about that separately, and I think that's a great app as well. So again, questions about any of those, comments, just leave them down below. Serious questions, find me over on Facebook. I'm having the most success answering questions there these days. Thanks for watching.